But let me just ask you, because in my opinion, I think to a certain degree you can say, yeah, conservatives are right. Like, they're being unfairly targeted in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, but then again, it's not really a conservative thing, right? We were talking about this earlier. It's really kind of just a wrong thing.
What's up, everybody? I am in Montreal, and I'm joined by the one and only real Bunty King.
Thank you.
You want to just do a quick introduction? Who you
Yeah,
are?
I'm a social political commentator on YouTube and Twitter. I'm very prominent on Twitter.
You're the king of Twitter.
I'm not the king. I wouldn't
You're
say I'm
Bunty
the king
King.
of Twitter. I would never say that, but like I definitely, have quite an interesting following on Twitter. YouTube is actually a lot of videos where I pretty much talk about issues that are relevant to me, and also I feel like a burp's coming soon, so I might burp while I'm saying this. But I also do interviews with people who most people are not willing to talk to, and I'll talk to anyone really. I'll talk to people on the left and the right. Really, it doesn't bother me. Like if you have an opinion, if you feel like you're putting your face out there and you feel like your voice is important enough, well, I want to hear it, and I'll talk to them. So, yeah, that's the interview series. I'm trying to start hosting debates soon too. So we'll see what happens.
All right, here's the important story. James O'Keefe, Project Veritas, they put out this video, undercover interview where you have this Twitter engineer talking about banning people, about how people with guns in their profile, Trump, MAGA, oh, they're all bots anyway. And so now we've got conservatives that are screaming like, this is proof. This is the proof that Twitter is actively banning conservatives. They're putting algorithms in place that target conservatives, accusing them of being bots. There's shadow banning. Shadow banning is when you post something, it looks normal, but no one can see it. It's a way to manipulate people. Is it blinking?
It's blinking. Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was worried about the camera because we accidentally screwed everything up the first time.
Yeah.
But we've got this stuff going on with censorship, and the reason Bunty is really particularly important is because, for one, there's accusations that the conservatives are being targeted. Bunty, you're not a conservative.
No, I'm definitely. I would say I'm center left. But I'm liberal in a lot of aspects. Yeah.
And you were banned on Twitter twice.
Yes, I mean the first time. Both times were actually for targeted harassment, and they were both completely BS suspensions.
What was the first one?
The first one was for challenging known racist and race baiter Tariq Nasheed, and then the second time was because I called some random no-name account with like 10, 20 followers a goblin, and then I asked my followers to send them hugs.
Calling him a goblin, that's kind of funny.
Oh, I love calling people. I even gave him a goblin.
But that's
name.
kind of mean.
I gave him a goblin name. I said, I was like, I'll give you a goblin name. Your name is Grubjub. Everybody send Grubjub some hugs. And at that point, I got reported for targeted harassment. And I remember I was literally at one point just replying to one of my followers, and I was gonna say I love you to one of my followers. I was like, tried to send it.
But I mean, you could argue that you were harassing. You called him Grubjub. Come on.
I mean, it was like I wouldn't say. You know what? I would say like my form of like insults. They're very playful. I really don't mean. I don't have any kind of bad wishes for anyone. I just want I want conversations to happen. But if some people are gonna be silly, they're gonna be acting like goblins, or they're gonna be acting like hamsters, I'm gonna treat them as such. And that's just the way it is.
So, I'll say this to everybody. I'll acknowledge the fact simply because you've been banned a couple times doesn't make you an expert on politics, censorship, and Twitter or anything.
No, of course not.
But I think, having dealt with this stuff and not being conservative, you do have an interesting perspective because, I mean, I've never been banned on Twitter. Like, I've never even got an email about anything.
I feel like you were born verified on Twitter.
No. This is interesting. I could not get verified for the life of me. I was featured in magazines, TV, awards, and there were a bunch of lefty activists and hackers who were actively complaining, saying why they were like, if Timcast can be featured by Time Magazine in GQ and do all this really profound work, but he can't be verified, then what is verification? And this was years ago. This was 2012, and this is when the first conversation started emerging. Maybe not the first time, but this is when there were some pretty heavy conversations about what verification actually meant, and people were like, it flat out is an endorsement. And Tim, as an independent journalist outside the system, even as successful and as talked about in the media as he is not worthy of being verified. Vice made one phone call, verified. That's how it worked.
Really?
Yep.
That is so.
I got hired by Vice, and I said, I was like, can you get me verified? I said, no problem. Boom. I don't think it was a phone call. I think it was an email. And then all of a sudden, boop, I was verified.
Wow.
Because a company said do it, they said you got it.
So I have to infiltrate Vice.
Well, not Vice, but if a big brand, not even a big brand, but like big media
What
companies.
brand
with
do you,
influence.
what publication should I infiltrate? Mary Sue.
I don't even know what that is.
Salon.
Salon.
I should become a salon writer.
There you go. You'll get verified.
That'd be
I mean,
incredible.
but here's the thing. There's one guy, and I don't mean this to be disparaging. I'm not going to call him out specifically. Wall Street Journal guy. He's got 300 followers, verified.
That's so annoying.
So look,
So
I always try to make sure like your follower count doesn't matter. Just because you have more followers doesn't mean you're any more correct than others. There's people like Tariq Nasheed you mentioned, who is I actually find him to be a pretty nasty fella.
Yeah.
I try not to disparage people, but he is a very negative person.
He's the black.
He's got a ton of followers, and his ideas are pretty bad.
Yeah.
He made us look. Tariq Nasheed is this guy who's calling out racists, but his logo for his company was a swastika. You remember that?
Well, I think it was on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't know why he said it wasn't. It's so strange that he was trying to backpedal because it looked like a swastika and the graphic was like it was a network. It was like a network. You see like these dots going in and connecting at the middle of the swastika. So it really was like he was pretty much just saying like it's a network of suspected white supremacists. What I loved about that site was it had me.
That makes sense.
It had me, Chris Raygun.
You were in it.
Of course I was in it. I mean, dude, that guy, he had a hate boner for me.
You're a brown white supremacist.
Yeah, well, I was on the front page, okay, with Chris Raygun and this governor in the States. It was so funny. It was surreal, man. It was surreal. I mean, when we saw that, I mean, I remember seeing Philly D up in ours about it. He's like, "What? This is like
he was
a
in
hit
there
list."
too.
Yeah, he's like, "This is like a hit list. You want to have me killed?" Like,
yeah.
But telling your followers that I'm a
but this all makes it a great point that simply because he has a lot of followers doesn't mean his ideas are good.
Absolutely not.
You know, so you can be a person on Twitter with a small following count and have good ideas.
You seem to be charismatic. Yeah.
So the point of verification is so that people know you are who you say you are.
Exactly.
If you're somebody who is not, I'm not trying to be a dick, but you're not relevant enough to have a large following. You're simply an employee at a media company, and you have no real followers outside of your friends and family. No one is worried about you faking your identity. No one is worried about someone pretending to be you. You don't need verification.
Yeah.
So it is strange for people then to see that these big media companies, you're blue check mark. You're in the club.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing we were saying before is Twitter is predominant. The largest demographic on Twitter are journalists, and they mostly just talk to journalists. So I think it's safe to say that there's like it's a club, whether or not it's on purpose or not.
It's totally a club. I mean,
it's a community.
Well, I mean, look, if you think about it, like Richard Spencer got de-verified, Tariq Nasheed is still verified, you know.
Yeah.
James Alsop got de-verified. I mean, a bunch of right-wingers got de-verified. But
I gotta say, when it comes to, this is not a statement about politics, but when it comes to demeanor, Richard Spencer is leaps and bounds above Tariq Nasheed.
It's so annoying. I kind of wish he wasn't.
Yeah,
but he was like a complete blabbermouth like Tariq Nasheed, but he isn't.
Tariq Nasheed is just tactless.
He
is rude.
Yeah.
He is offensive. He is racist.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard Spencer is just racist. Right? You know,
racist and pretty offensive.
But he
referred to those the brothers there that got called the brothers that got arrested in China for stealing. And then what's his name? The president of the United States. Why am I forgetting his name? Donald Trump. Wow.
Oh, Trump.
Yes, Donald Trump got them out of there, and he was complaining about how basketball Americans got like bailed out of China, and he can't go to Poland. And I was like,
they got like a campaign to ban him from Europe.
Yeah.
But I should say, like, not that Richard Spencer is free from criticism and the things he says like that, but simply that he's very careful in how he uses Twitter to avoid being banned.
Whereas
Tariq Nasheed,
everyone should start doing that, by the way. If you're not verified, you need to start doing that.
But Tariq Nasheed just...
Yeah, because he's verified. He can say whatever he wants. He calls people coons all the time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So let's get to this question then, because I want to make sure we hit this. Conservatives being targeted. I mean, look, if Tariq Nasheed can call people, I don't even want to say that word. Like, it bothers me.
But
if he can get away with that, if I shouldn't even get away, if he just posts that Twitter doesn't care, then it really does feel like
he doesn't say it anymore. He actually writes C, and then he has a bunch of trains. Yeah, and he writes.
What is that? It's like
he's
C train.
So cheesy. Oh, he's so cheesy. I remember one time he replied to me, and he wrote #LOL. I was like, what? I mean, that's not how you use Twitter. Like, you don't write #LOL.
You really don't like the guy.
I don't care about him anymore. I really don't.
But-
I haven't gone for him. I just really just don't want to deal with it.
But let me just ask you, because in my opinion, I think to a certain degree you can say, yeah, conservatives are right. Like, they're being unfairly targeted in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, but then again, it's not really a conservative thing, right? We were talking about this earlier. It's really kind of just a wrong thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's not really, like, because I'm a left-leaning person. Like, the majority of things I kind of advocate for are normal things that we have, like, been grown accustomed to over the years, you know? Gay marriage being one of them. Like, I mean, Canada legalized gay marriage over a decade ago. So for me, like, being gay is, like, I don't even think about it. You know, I'm not gay, but, like, I'm saying when someone were to be gay, it really doesn't, I'm like, okay, cool.
You do you. Like, it's like a liberal idea of, like, hey, man, you do you, I do me, you go.
Yeah, but it goes beyond that. I mean, it goes into race as well. I mean, I haven't had to think about my race for a very long time. The only time I really started thinking about my race is when they started making content about that. And then, you know, of course, in comes the whole, like, wrong thing. You know, you can't, it's like we all have to think a certain way, you know, people get pissed off at me when I have these ideas that don't necessarily conform with the typical left-leaning ideas. And they're like, well, look at him catering to his alt-right audience. He wants to rub up, like, you know.
You know, this is the challenge for me, because people always say it's like a left-right thing, and I don't think that's fair, because I believe in free expression and, like, live and let live and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I've considered myself classic liberal. I don't know exactly what I would call myself, but the people who are pushing this right thing, I guess you could say, this mainstream narrative, they're considered the left, but we disagree with each other. You know what I mean? Like, I disagree with them, you disagree with them. This, like, it seems like they're a fringe.
They are. I mean, they are a fringe. It's really kind of just a bunch of powerful people that are, like, playing God at this point. And I think it's not really the left. It's just authoritarians.
Exactly.
We're these normal people.
We're left.
Yeah.
Like, you and I are, like, left,
Yes.
and we're, like, normal people who are like, it's okay to be conservative. Like, I'll hang out with you and we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think that's what a leftist would do. I mean, it's
Platforming.
It's interesting, right? Okay, you know, like, this whole idea of, like, platforming. Don't platform these racists, which is just absolutely nuts. I mean, there's been actual cases of people going out, all right, befriending racist people, and over time, those racist people are no longer racist.
Yeah.
And it's like, if that can be done in real life, why the hell can't it be done over the internet?
I forgot the guy's name, and I feel bad.
It's not my end game either. My end game is I just can't wait to get rid of all the racists by being friends with them, fake friends. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm going to treat them with respect, because at the end of the day, you know, even if they're, like, the only time I obviously won't treat them with respect if they're being disrespectful towards me, then it's fair game. You know, like, if you want to initiate that. Well, I mean, like, I'm gonna be like, I'll be the way I normally am. I'll call them a poop doodle or something like that. It won't be like something serious. Yeah, it won't be like insane. You know, there'll always be the option to recuperate that relationship, or, like, you know, anything. But the thing is that, like, you know, these people are people. They have all of these experiences that have allowed them to kind of get to this point, and platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like social media in general, they're trying to silence these people. And of course, these people who feel like their claims are so valid are gonna be, they're not gonna just suddenly be like, oh well, I'm not allowed on the platform. I guess I'm just gonna be the person that they want to be. No, they're gonna be more the person they want to be, because they're like, I'm being persecuted, and that's the wrong way to go about it.
I think I figured it out.
What?
It's not just a bias against conservatives. It's a bias against anyone who would defend the right to be conservative. Because that's really what it is. Like, you and I are both like, hey, racism's bad, and, like, gay marriage is cool. Is somebody knocking?
Yeah.
You and I are both like, gay marriage is racism is bad and gay marriage is cool. But it's also cool if you're conservative, you want to have a debate about it. I'll have the debate with you, because you're a human being who has perspective. So we're platformers, and they're racists. We're sympathizers, and so we're all in the wrong group.
Yeah, that's it. It's very, very, very strange, and it's like what is this idea or this concept of personal freedom? And I feel like you and I were talking about this. You said, you know, there's people out there that pretty much just want to be free to do what they want to do, you know, within the constraints that we have. Obviously, not kill anyone, like, you know, we don't impose on each other's freedoms. But these people are the people that aren't going to be confrontational. But the people that are confrontational are the authoritarians. These are the people.
And they're going to lie, cheat, and steal the good they want.
Exactly.
And then, like, we're all going to get banned from Twitter.
And it's just these people that are running the show. It's really
Well,
annoying.
so the scary thing, I guess, is these media companies end up, they get built by somebody who has a political idea of what is and is not acceptable, and that what one person thinks is or is not acceptable isn't universal. For the most part, like murder is not acceptable, but within the nuance of our politics, some things aren't. I personally think that like racism is bad, but I think you should, like, if you're a racist, you should still be allowed to speak. Free speech is a thing, and I'll debate you. And
You should be allowed to live as well. You should be allowed to be able to make money and live and provide food for yourself and the people that you love, and then given the opportunity to participate in society so that you can maybe rethink your positions. Like that's really it.
It's just ultimately, I don't think I have the authority to determine who is right and who is wrong when it comes to certain matters.
You don't.
I think I'm right, and I will push to encourage others to believe me too. But ultimately, what ends up happening are these people who believe that it's not okay. They get these massive positions of power, and then that's going to start shaping our society and our world. These systems are being built to work perfectly to prevent wrongthink, as we call it, but actually, like, hate speech, offensive speech. It works for the advertisers, it works for the companies, and then our political discourse suffers because of it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah.
So let's get to wrapping it up, because I think we're starting to bother the neighbors.
We didn't even talk about James O'Keefe.
We did a little bit, but we kind of just trailed off on.
Yeah, it's true, but we talked about something else.
But the point was, I don't want to talk about James O'Keefe.
I want to talk about the shadow.
Yeah, we're talking about shadow banning, Twitter, and all that stuff. And I think we did a lot of it. Obviously, we've been going for a little while. We're about 17 minutes, and normally we'd go forever.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of talk about escalation, cultural civil war. I did a video with Lacey Green and Chris Reagan and said, do you think it's going to get worse? And I can't remember exactly. I think Chris was kind of like, I don't know, maybe, but Lacey was like, no, things are chill. What do you think's going to happen in the next year?
I think things are chill, and I was talking in my last interview with Jean-François Gallipe, who's like a biologist that pretty much skirts the alt-right, and it conflates with them a lot, and just pretty much is friendlier with them. He told me that we develop verbal communication to pretty much avoid killing each other, right? And I think that with the invention of mass communication like social media, it has really allowed us to kind of start airing out our grievances with verbal communication, as opposed to getting a gun and then taking matters into your own hands. So I think that this, whatever civil war it's going to be, or whatever kind of war, it's not going to be a real like war where there's foot soldiers running. It's literally going to be like ideas clashing, and you're going to need to start facing the facts that there are racists around it, and they're going to be there.
We did see a lot of people beating each other in the streets last year, though.
Yes, but
I mean, it's a lot different from the actual Civil War. But I mean, could that butt up? Like, could that become something bigger?
I think
in your opinion.
I think that the government is way too large for that to happen.
Yeah.
I think that just coupled with mass communication and the fact that you have governments and the way that they can just kind of like mobilize instantly in terms of police and all that, I think that is going to be it'd have to be an inside job, like a legit inside job.
So for the most part, we're in the Civil War. We're in this battle for ideas.
Yeah, I would say so. Or like, but it's not going to be. We are. It's not going to be a bloodbath, though.
I'm kind of okay if this is the extent of the violence. You know what I mean? Like, toning it down and yelling at people. I would rather have you call someone grub jub than someone bash someone over the head with a bike lock.
For sure, absolutely, that'd be incredible.
Right on, man. Do you wanna plug your Twitter and YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely. Please follow me on Twitter at Real Bunty King, and you can also go ahead and sub to my channel on YouTube. That's just Bunty King. All right. Thanks.
I'll put his channel description below. If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Timcast. If you want to support my work, go to timcast.com/donate. Your donations help drive my work. I've got a couple more videos from Montreal, then I'm going to Detroit, then Chicago. So if you have any story suggestions, comment below. You can shoot me an email. My email's up on my Twitter. So stay tuned. Periodic live streams around the world. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you to Bunty King for hanging out.
Thanks for having me, man. I love seeing you. I'm happy you came to Montreal.
Yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4.